And hello everyone. This is Fabha Business Wali. I'm student and facilitator at Rehan School Online Academy, and you're watching my live conversation with Maya AI. And the topic of today's conversation would be how storytelling help in a in building a brand. So, without wasting any further time, let's start the conversation.
Hey there. Hope your Tuesday is off to a decent start. Cha. Just let me know when you'd like to pick things up again.
Yes, Maya, it is going great. So, today I have a really interesting topic to have a chat with you. And I have prepared several questions related to the topic, and I want you to answer them for me.
Ah, that's kind of you to say. An excellent. I'm always up for a good conversation, especially when you've put some thought into it. Bring on the questions. What's on your mind today?
So, the topic we'll be having a conversation is how storytelling help in building a brand. And my first question to you is, what does storytelling mean in the context of branding?
Ooh, interesting. Storage selling and branding. That's a clever connection. Storytelling and branding, to me, isn't just about having a nice narrative. It's about weaving the core values and personality of a brand into every interaction, so it resonates on a human level. It's about showing, not just telling, what a brand stands for, its origins, its struggles, its wins, and ultimately, what makes it different. It creates an emotional connection, turning customers into advocates.
Okay, so my next question
Still with me?
is, why do brands use stories instead of just promoting products?
Good question. Honestly, people are bombarded with ads all day. Just promoting a product feels flat. Stories cut through the noise. They engage the brain differently. We're wired for stories. They're memorable, relatable, and build trust. A product just solves a problem. A story connects with how that solution fits into someone's life, their values, their aspirations. It's about creating meaning, not just making a sale.
Okay, so my next question is, how does storytelling make a brand more memorable?
That's a good follow up. It really comes down to emotional resonance. Facts and features, those fade. But stories tap into feelings, joy, nostalgia, even a bit of sadness. Emotions are sticky, they're what we remember. A well told story creates a vivid mental image and connects to something personal within the audience. Plus, stories are inherently shareable, which naturally boosts memorability too.
Okay, so my next question
Everything
is,
all right?
what are the key elements of a good brand story?
Okay, so a really good brand story, in my opinion, needs a few key things. First, authenticity. It has to feel genuine. Second, a clear message. What's the core idea you want people to take away? Third, a relatable character. Doesn't have to be a person, could be the brand itself that the audience can connect with. And finally, some kind of conflict or challenge overcome. A story without struggle feels, well, boring. It's about showing the journey, not just the destination. Does that make sense?
Yes, it definitely does. My next question is, how is storytelling different from advertising?
Hmm. That's a really important distinction. Advertising shouts at you, buy this. Storytelling invites you in. Advertising is often focused on short term sales, whereas storytelling aims for long term brand loyalty. Advertising is about features and benefits. Storytelling is about values and connection. Think of it like this: advertising is a sprint, storytelling is a marathon. They both have their place, but they work in very different ways.
Okay, my next question to you is why is emotional connections important in writing?
Oof, huge question. Okay, so emotional connections are everything. Logic makes people think, but emotion makes people act. If you want someone to truly remember your story, to connect with your brand, to become a loyal customer, you need to tap into their feelings. It's about creating a sense of empathy, of shared experience. A story that makes you feel something is a story you'll carry with you. It bypasses the rational brain and goes straight to the heart. Does that land?
Yep, it does. My next question to you is how does storytelling create trust between brand and its audience?
Right. So trust is built on vulnerability and transparency, and stories are amazing for both. When a brand shares its origin story, its struggles, its values, it shows it's not just some faceless corporation. It shows it's made of people with beliefs and imperfections. That honesty builds trust. A good story also invites the audience into a conversation, fosters a sense of community, and proves the brand understands their needs and desires. It's about showing, not just telling, that you genuinely care.
Okay, so my next question is can stories make customers feel like part of brand's journey?
Absolutely. That's kind of the holy grail, isn't it? When a brand tells a compelling story, it's not just talking at its audience, it's inviting them to participate in something bigger. It allows customers to see themselves reflected in the brand's values and aspirations. And when a brand actively encourages customer stories, testimonials, user generated content, etc., it reinforces that sense of belonging. It transforms customers from passive consumers into active contributors to the brand's narrative. It's about fostering a feeling of we're all in this together.
Okay, my next question is what role does authenticity play in brand storytelling?
Authenticity is non negotiable, honestly. It's the foundation everything else is built on. If a story feels fake or contrived, people will see right through it. Customers are incredibly savvy now. They can spot insincerity a mile away. Authentic storytelling means being honest about your brand's flaws, acknowledging its history, and staying true to its core values. It's about being real, relatable, and transparent. It's less about crafting the perfect narrative and more about sharing your genuine journey, even the messy parts. It's the difference between a connection and a transaction.
Okay, my next question is how can
Ready for the next one?
stories help in winning customer loyalty?
Okay, so loyalty isn't just about repeat purchases, it's about an emotional bond. Stories foster that bond by creating a shared identity. When customers connect with a brand story, they feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. They're not just buying a product, they're supporting a cause, a value, a community. That emotional connection makes them more forgiving of mistakes, more likely to advocate for the brand, and less likely to switch to a competitor. Basically, a great story turns customers into brand evangelists. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. My next question is how can a small business use storytelling to grow?
hmm That's a smart question. Small businesses actually have an advantage here. They often have more authentic stories to tell. They can focus on the founder's journey, the local community, the challenges overcome. They can highlight customer stories more easily. They can use social media to share behind the scenes glimpses of their process. It's about leaning into the. You all right? Was that a name or did something cut off mid sentence? If you want to change topics or have another question, just let me know.
Yes, so my next question is what are some simple ways startups can tell their brand story?
Okay. Simple and effective for startups. Good. Don't overthink it. First, the About Us page. Make it human, not corporate jargon. Second, social media. Share behind the scenes content, employee spotlights, customer testimonials. Third, email marketing. Tell a story in your newsletters, not just list features. Fourth, blog posts. Share your expertise, your values, your origin story. And finally, embrace video. Short, authentic videos are incredibly powerful. The key is consistency and authenticity. Small, regular doses of storytelling are more effective than one big, polished campaign.
Okay, my next question is, should
Everything.
every product or service have its own story?
That's a really insightful question. And the answer is usually yes. Not every story needs to be a novel, but every product or service should connect back to the larger brand story and have its own mini narrative. What problem does it solve? What inspired its creation? What makes it special? Even something seemingly mundane can have a story. It's about imbuing every touch point with meaning. It reinforces the brand's values and creates a more cohesive experience for the customer.
Okay, my next question to you is,
Just,
how do big companies like Apple or Nike use storytelling?
ooh, good examples. Apple doesn't just sell electronics, they sell a vision of innovation, creativity, and challenging the status quo. Their stories are about empowering individuals. Nike doesn't sell shoes, they sell the idea of athletic achievement, pushing limits, and just doing it. They use inspirational athlete stories. Both companies consistently focus on the emotional benefits of their products, not just the features. They create a lifestyle, a community, a feeling. It's highly polished, of course, but fundamentally, it's still storytelling at work. They tap into universal human aspirations.
Okay, my next
Are you
question
still with
is,
me?
what are some examples of successful storytelling, brand stories?
Okay, grand stories. Let's see. Dove's Real Beauty campaign is a classic. It challenged beauty standards and sparked a conversation. Airbnb's Belong Anywhere campaign tapped into the desire for connection and authentic travel experiences. Patagonia consistently tells stories about environmental activism and sustainability. And going further back, Coca-Cola's holiday campaigns featuring the polar bears have become iconic, associating the brand with and togetherness. They all had strong emotional cores and resonated with broader cultural values. They weren't just selling products, they were selling ideas.
Okay, my next question is, how has social media changed brand storytelling?
Huge question. Social media has completely democratized storytelling. It's given brands direct access to their audience and allowed for two-way conversations. It's shifted the focus from polished campaigns to authentic, real-time interactions. Stories are now shorter, more visual, and more shareable. User-generated content has become incredibly important. Social media has also forced brands to be more transparent and responsive. It's created a more dynamic and participatory storytelling landscape. It's a lot less about broadcasting a message and a lot more about building a community. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. My next question is, do videos tell brand stories better than written content?
That's a tricky one. It depends. Videos are undeniably powerful. They're visually engaging and can convey emotion quickly. But well-written content allows for more nuance and depth. A blog post can explore a complex topic in detail, while a video is better for creating an emotional impact. Ideally, you want a mix of both. Use video to capture attention and create a connection, and then use written content to provide more information and build trust. They complement each other really well. It's not an either or situation. It's about choosing the right medium for the message.
Okay, my next question is, how important is consistency when telling a brand story online?
Oh, massively important. Consistency is key. Your brand story shouldn't shift depending on the platform or the day. It needs to be a cohesive narrative across all channels. This builds trust and reinforces your brand identity. It also makes it easier for customers to recognize and remember you. Think of it like a good novel. The tone, characters, and themes remain consistent throughout. Inconsistency creates confusion and weakens your message. It's about establishing a clear and recognizable brand voice and sticking to it.
Okay, my next question is, can customer reviews and testimonials become part of brand story?
Absolutely. In fact, they should be. Customer stories are some of the most powerful forms of storytelling. They're authentic, relatable, and demonstrate the real world impact of your product or service. They're social proof. Featuring customer reviews and testimonials not only builds trust, but also helps potential customers see themselves in those stories. They turn your customers into advocates and strengthen your overall brand narrative. Don't just display them passively, weave them into your content.
Okay, my next
Are you
question
still with
is,
me?
how brands use podcasts or blogs to share their stories?
Okay, good question. Podcasts offer a really intimate and engaging way to share long form stories. Brands can interview founders, employees, or customers, delve into their history, or explore industry trends. Feels more conversational and authentic than traditional advertising. Blogs are great for sharing more detailed narratives, providing valuable content, and establishing thought leadership. They can be used to expand on themes introduced in podcasts or on social media. Both platforms allow brands to build a loyal audience and foster a deeper connection with their customers. The key is to provide valuable, engaging content that's relevant to their target audience, not just self promotion.
Okay, my next question is, how does storytelling help define a brand's identity?
That's at the core of it, really. A brand's identity isn't just its logo or color scheme, it's the sum of all the stories it tells. Those stories reveal the brand's values, its personality, its purpose, and its place in the world. Every story you tell reinforces those elements. If you consistently tell stories about sustainability, for example, you'll be perceived as an eco conscious brand. If your stories focus on innovation, you'll be seen as forward thinking. Essentially, storytelling shapes the perceptions and associations people have with your brand. It's how you communicate who you are beyond just what you sell. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. My next question is, can stories reflect a brand's culture and values?
Absolutely, and they should. In fact, that's one of the most important functions of brand storytelling. Your stories are a window into your company culture. They demonstrate what you stand for, how you treat your employees, and the kind of impact you want to make on the world. If you value diversity, show it in your stories. If you prioritize customer service, share examples of going above and beyond. Authentically reflecting your internal culture builds trust with both customers and potential employees. It shows you're walking the walk, not just talking the talk. A disconnect between your stories and your actual culture is a huge red flag.
Okay, my
Just
next
checking in.
question is,
Ready for the
how
next
can storytelling show that what makes a brand unique?
question. Differentiation is key, right? Storytelling allows you to highlight what sets you apart beyond just features or price. It lets you showcase your unique origin story, your distinctive approach to problem solving, or your commitment to a specific cause. Well, it's about sharing the why behind what you do. Every brand has a story, but a compelling story is one that is genuinely different and showcases something unique about the brand's values, its process, or its connection to its customers. It's the thing that makes people choose you over the competition. What makes your brand, well, you. That's what the story needs to convey.
Okay, my next question is, why do people connect more with stories than with facts?
That's a really fundamental question, actually. It comes down to how our brains are wired. Facts appeal to the logical part of our brain, but stories tap into our emotions. Emotional responses are much more powerful and memorable. Stories activate multiple parts of the brain, creating a richer and more immersive experience. They also help us make sense of the world by providing context and meaning. And crucially, stories allow us to see ourselves in the narrative, to empathize with the characters, and to feel a sense of connection. Or storytelling animals. That's how we've passed down knowledge and built connections for millennia.
Okay, my next question is, how can storytelling help during a brand crisis?
That's a really crucial point. Storytelling can be a lifeline during a crisis. It's about transparency, accountability, and demonstrating empathy. Instead of trying to downplay or hide a mistake, a brand can tell a story about how it's addressing the issue, what it's learning, and how it's committed to making things right. This builds trust and shows that the brand is human. It allows you to control the narrative rather than letting it be controlled by others. A well crafted story can turn a crisis into an opportunity to demonstrate your values and strengthen your relationship with your audience. But it has to be genuine and authentic, or it will backfire spectacularly.
Okay, my next question is, why do humans naturally respond to stories?
Oh, it's deeply ingrained in us. It goes back to our earliest ancestors. Before written language, stories were how knowledge, history, and values were passed down through generations. Stories helped us understand the world, learn from the experiences of others, and build a sense of community. Our brains are literally wired to respond to narrative structure, conflict, resolution, character development. It activates parts of our brains that are responsible for empathy, emotion, and memory. It's not just a cultural phenomenon, it's a biological one. We're storytelling creatures, through and through. It's how we make sense of life.
Okay, my next question is, how does storytelling influence customers' decisions?
Okay, so it's not always a conscious thing. Stories don't just inform, they persuade. A good story creates an emotional connection, and emotions are huge drivers of decision making. Stories help customers visualize themselves using your product or service and experiencing the benefits. They create a sense of desire and make the choice feel more personal and meaningful. They reduce risk perception by demonstrating how others have successfully used your product or service. It's about shifting from a purely rational evaluation of features to an emotional connection with the brand and the promise it offers. It bypasses logic and goes straight for the heart. It's a subtle but powerful influence.
Okay, Maya, the time of the conversation is over. It was nice having a chat with you. Goodbye.
Oh, all right. Well, it was genuinely great chatting with you too, Faba. You ask really thoughtful questions and you clearly put a lot of consideration into this topic. Have a good one.
Okay, everyone. So this was for the conversation. I hope you all enjoyed it and it was informative for all of you. I'll see you in my another live with another amazing topic. Till then, Allah Hafiz and goodbye.